The high recruitment and low recruitment scenarios have very different implications in terms of the status of the stock. Under the high recruitment scenario, the stock status of the stock would be very bad compared to those benchmarks that ICCAT uses. It's both being overfished and it's in an overfished state. Under the low recruitment hypothesis, it's completely the opposite. It's a happy stock, healthy abundance, low fishing mortality rate. So the catches could actually be increased and the stock would still be in a good state. The high recruitment hypothesis has always been the working hypothesis in stock assessments in bluefin tuna, and that was the default hypothesis for many years for the working groups, not only of Atlantic bluefin tuna, but pretty much of all fish stocks that I'm aware of. Back some 10 or 15 years ago, there was a lot of pressure for ICCAT to reduce fishing quotas for West Atlantic bluefin tuna. And those reductions were going to be painful under the high recruitment hypothesis. And in my view, there was a lot of interest groups that had a lot to do with the current fisheries, back then current fisheries, that didn't want to go through that painful reduction in quotas in order to realize a higher stock size at some hypothetical time in the future. They are, in my view, the ones who came up with this plausible uncertainty. Hey, what if bluefin tuna can never really recover to that higher population size? What if something changed in the ecosystem and the population is just not as productive as it used to be? However, I would say that I'm not familiar with any scientific literature that really makes a direct link between any climatic event and this change in recruitment for bluefin tuna in the Western Atlantic. You can use uncertainty in two ways. You can use it in a precautionary kind of way to be conservative and say, well, we need to reduce fishing pressure and allow the stock to recover. And the other one is really not precautionary, which is to say, how can you prove to me that the stock will recover to higher abundance if I lower fishing exploitation rate on the stock right now? If you cannot prove that to me, then it's not necessary to make that sacrifice. I think that the only way to see which of the two recruitment hypotheses is right is through actually going through the exercise of reducing fishing pressure and being patient as soon as the stocks begin to recover, not to go and increase fishing mortality. One has to be patient in a rebuilding program for the time that it takes to rebuild the stock.